Oh, what a surprise! Joe Jesus Jr.'s gonna set us all straight.
Travis Wayne Goodsall. This morning on the bus, I saw the Muslim women, Islamic Mormons, heading off to work at the distribution warehouse. I just got to laugh because the church, being stupid Westerners, have fallen prey to the lies of Islam. As Islam specifically lies to Westerners because we're infidels, heathens, and so they only use us for them and their people. And so any deals that they make are for their people, and they will lie, they will cheat, they will steal, they will murder. They will sleep their way to the top, whatever it takes, for the benefit of Islam and the glory of Allah. And they prey upon keeping Westerners ignorant about their religious origins with Muhammad. And this is where the church fell prey to them. As the church, leaders anyway, are likewise using Islam for their plot to coup America. They're both working to stab each other in the back to get their ultimate goal, to destroy America. Yay! Religion is fun. And so I apparently have to remind my audience again, Muslim is culture, Islam is religion. Nationality is where they live on the land. Now, they live in Utah, as well as other places around the world, for the most part because they are refugees, as they so claimed. They are sleeper cells, because they're fooling the stupid Westerners with their heathen, infidel ways and technologies. And so those who live in Gaza are Gazans. Those who live in Lebanon are Lebanese. Those who live on the West Bank are Palestinians, generalized. And Syrians, Afghani, Pakistani, Saudis, etc., etc., etc. And each of those lands has a governing body over them. And if they're not a recognized nation, like Gaza or the West Bank, they still have a governing body. They're just not recognized, similar to Kim Jong-un. Little Rocket Man was not getting recognized, and he was angry and threatened nukes so he would be recognized. Look at me! I'm gonna nuke you! I'll do it! Whatever. So, each of these nations with the government, with the religion and the culture of Islam, Muslim, have a military. And those military units are considered terrorists by the world community. And yet Islam have fooled the stupid Westerners into believing it's all separated. That Muslim is not necessarily Islam, Islam isn't necessarily the nationality, and the nationality isn't necessarily the government, and the government isn't necessarily the military. Okay. If people are going to be stupid, more power to you, I guess. And so thus, Hamas, Hezbollah, Taliban, Houthi, etc. They're just the military of the nationality run by the government of the Islamists who are Muslim in culture. Real simple to understand. And anybody who can't figure this out, you shouldn't be trusting them, especially when they're a reporter. Reporters are supposed to know this information. Government leaders are supposed to know this information. It's kind of essential for their jobs, so that the people get informed correctly. So that you don't go off and attack Saddam Hussein for what Saudi Arabia caused. Just a hypothetical example. And then go into Pakistan first, and then Afghanistan. And then go, oh, right, my dad, he's Poppy. They have poppies in Afghanistan. We'll just take over the poppy trade and help Big Pharma. I'm the decider, Dad. But yes, after 9/11, the University of Utah became one of the universities in the United States to help the government request for people who know Islamic languages, Arabic. And thus, Arabic would be the language. Because no Westerner knew Arabic. And so we had a lot of problems in the beginning when we were trying to obtain intel and get recordings. And, wait a minute, that's not Saddam Hussein, but he's claiming to be Saddam Hussein. Is this AI? What's AI? But nonetheless, the religion of Islam is to be understood in the context of the basic tenets of all religions, that any scholar who's doing research on them should have. And so you need to know the origins of the religion, who the founder is. You need to establish what their theology is, how their administration is run, how succession of the administration is run. You need to know what they consider as scripture. And rituals and such, as I've been going over with you all these years. And so for anybody doing a book on religions of the world, if they do not have that structure, to make it simple for you, as I had taken a class at Rick's, and so I had to purchase stuff from the bookstore, thanks to my parents, who paid for it all. I'm not going to pay for it. I'm just here to get away from my parents. And they had two little pamphlet pop-outs of charts of each of the religions and doctrinal differences. And it was based on Mormon. And so there were some blanks for other religions as a result, because it was not done through this scientific study and research. The Mormons were comparing other religions' doctrinal claims based on ours to show how they're wrong and we're the one true religion. It's not how you do it. Not how you do it. You go over the list that I gave you, then you can understand them better. Then you can understand their doctrine and why it's different. But there was also the book by Spencer J. Palmer and Roger R. Keller, who I had for Book of Mormon, and he was a Nazi. Everybody failed Book of Mormon. You fail! Come back next year. No, I got a C. He was actually wrong. Looking back in retrospect, he didn't know his Book of Mormon. He assumed he knew stuff, And then his tests were based on what he assumed, and obviously everybody got it wrong. Because you couldn't just memorize and regurgitate what you memorized for his tests. You had to know what he thought of it, his interpretation, otherwise you're wrong. So everybody failed, or got a C. Nevertheless, I did also take a scripture study course, which was awesome, and I'm surprised if they still have that. Because that teaches Mormons to apostatize. You can't study their scriptures. What are you thinking? Original languages? Hell no. And so he's probably excommunicated as well. But again, this religions of the world, a Latter-day Saint view, which automatically tells you it's tainted. And as you go through it, sure enough, it is not organized. They do articles for each of the different religions, and articles based on the subject that they want to bring out. They do not stick to the pattern that I gave you. And so when they come to the Jews, they don't tell you about the Jewish Christ. It's gone. They won't tell you. And I have Alma 18, verse 4, where the Lamanite king talks about the Great Spirit. That's Jesus. The Lamanites were Christian. When you understand the spirit of prophecy, it will help you understand. And so we have Guide to the Scriptures, Topical Guide, and Bible Dictionary that we have access to for study aids. We'll go to the Bible Dictionary first, because the Topical Guide just references scriptures. They don't give you stuffs. So then we'll go to J. And then we'll search for Jews or Judaism. So there's Jasher, Jehovah. And if you understood the original language, you would understand that that's out of alphabetical order. It's based upon the corrupted Latin languages in Europe. Why we pronounce it as J. I would hope most of you know that information. Same with Jerusalem. Most of these J's do not exist because Hebrew does not have a J sound as a phoneme. And thus it's not Jesus. Sorry, Jehovah's Witnesses. You have to pronounce it exactly like Jehovah. But... okay, 2. The name indicated first of all a man of the kingdom of Judah, as distinguished from persons belonging to the northern kingdom of Israel. Okay, so this is correct. It doesn't necessarily refer to the religion, but in this particular case, all of Judah were religion of Jew. That's why Jews are both the religion and the culture. It has become customary to use the word Jew to refer to all the descendants of Jacob. But this is a mistake. Is it? Is it because Jacob isn't real? He's a prophetic character to teach about the Jewish Christ and the usurpation of birthright and blessings and the need to restore it back to the original birthright blessing family? Is it? It would be limited to those of the kingdom of Judah, or more especially today, those of the tribe of Judah and his associates. So no. Thus all Jews are Israelites, but not all Israelites are Jews. Wow, you're so clever. Because there are descendants of other tribes of Israel also upon the earth. And so that's why you can't find the Jewish DNA in the American Indians. That's why they did that. This was in the 70s, before that scandal got worse. But they were setting it up to give their excuse. Come on. Okay, there's Judah. Judea. No Judaism. They won't cover it. They do not want to talk about the Jewish religion. You do know that the Bible was written by Jews. You do know that the Book of Mormon is in the learning of the Jews. Do you think it would be kind of important to know there we go. So J. We're in the Guide to the Scriptures now. Especially when Joseph Smith tells us in section 3, verse 16, that our Christ is the Jewish Christ. You'd think we should know that information, wouldn't you? Mormons still believe Joseph is our founder, right? Don't you? No? Oh. God, the supervisor bragged at how many different subjects under Jesus he had. Oh my God. Seriously? He was bragging that it was more than the Bible dictionary had. Under Jews, it does not say, see also Judaism. So we know we won't find Judaism here either. Kind of important. Kind of need to know the Greeks as well. Jesus has interactions with Greeks, Romans. Kind of need to know. So, Jews can either be, 1, descendants of Judah, of the 12 sons of Jacob, which, no. They're giving you the date for the coming of the Jewish Christ, using story form, like Matthew is story forms, giving you days and hours through the story representation. And then Matthew 24 and 25 are what are called apocalyptic literature. This was not all written together. They were 2 separate books. The Christian who compiled their Bible that we now have today combined the two, apocryphal and the story form of prophecy, together into one book, similar to Revelation. It has the Apocrypha, thus Revelation, Apocalypse, or Apocrypha? No, Apocalypse. Screwing it up. And then the story form at the beginning, where that's a completely different author. That's why it seems weird that we're talking about the churches in Turkey, and then all of a sudden we're talking about the latter days, and flying horses and dragons and serpents and frogs. Yeah. That almost didn't make it into our canon because it was not real. And that's why Matthew 24 and 25 got put in, is because it didn't talk about dragons and flying serpents and flying horses and frogs. And so that was perfectly acceptable according to the first creed of Christianity. And so, no, the 12 sons of Jacob are the 12 stars for the start of his ministry, the sign in the heavens. Revelation chapter 12, verses 1, 2, and 5. From Isaiah chapter 6, verse 1, chapter 7, 13 and 14. Matthew, Book of Mormon. Yep. 2, the people of ancient southern kingdom of Judah. Or 3, people who practice the religion, lifestyles. What's up with that? That's a type error. And traditions of Judaism, but may or may not be Jewish by birth. It has become customary to use the word Jew to refer to all of the descendants of Jacob, but this is a mistake. They put it back in the Guide to the Scriptures. Now this wasn't intentionally done because of the scandal of DNA. It should be limited to those of the kingdom of Judah, or more especially today, those of the tribe of Judah and his associates. And that's it. People who practice the religion. They will not tell you what the religion is. Such a scandal. Such a scandal. So you guys do know about the Zoramites, who believe in the Great Spirit, Christian God. We thank thee, O Jesus, that we are better than our brethren, and that thou hast saved us, and are going to burn the heathen in the latter day, and that their congregation met in a synagogue. They built a synagogue, which is Jewish, but turned it Christian with the Great Spirit of Jesus. You caught that, right? No? So I found online a person who did a wheel chart and a bunch of pink animals, and then lists modern religions: Christianity, Islam, Hinduism, Chinese, Buddhism, Sikhism, Judaism, Baha'i faith, and Jainism, And then they've got founder column, sacred text column, and then dash theistic. So for Christianity, you can tell that this was done by a Christian. The founder of Christianity is Jesus. No. No. The founder of Christianity is Roman Emperor Constantine, 325 CE. He created the first creed of Christianity, which they stole Jewish scriptures that conformed and complied to the first creed of Christianity and rejected everything else. Like I said, Revelation almost didn't make it. It was only because Revelation chapter 12, verses 1 and 2 could be interpreted as Jesus during the Roman period of time. On the 23rd of September, 2017. Dear God. Islam is blurred. They did. They actually blurred it completely out. There's a pink thing there, but it's blurred on purpose. They do not want you to see what it says for Islam. But the founder obviously is Muhammad. Not sure why they would have removed this. And the sacred text is the Quran, whereas for Christianity it's the Bible that they stole from the Jews. 2 Nephi chapter 29. A Bible. Have you obtained a Bible, save it were from the Jews? And so Christianity wrongly calls themselves monotheistic. 3 in 1 is not mono. And so Islam can't be mono either, as that would be what the person would have put in, and yet blurred. It's like they tried to erase Islam so that nobody would know. And so Judaism, obviously done by a Christian. The founder is Abraham. Which probably is for Islam too. Rather than Muhammad. No. They say it's Abraham because, again, the first creed of Christianity. First creed of Christianity turned the Jewish documents into literal histories, and therefore they put them in chronological order for their Bible. And so Genesis goes first. Genesis talks about Abraham and leads to Joseph. And so then this book of Exodus refers to Joseph of Egypt and then goes into Moses. And then Moses ends referring to Joshua. And so the book of Joshua, after the 5 books of Moses, not written by Moses, then is the book of Jesus, Joshua. Because Roman Emperor Constantine created Christianity with the first creed of Christianity, which put everything in chronological order, because now it's all literal history and not prophecies of the Jewish Christ in the latter days, who will start his ministry on the 23rd of September 2017. And so the sacred text, they don't dare say Bible. They won't even put Old Testament, which is interesting. They put Tanakh, which is correct because that's what the Jews call it. It's an acronym combination. The Torah, the Nevi'im, and the writings, Kettim, combined together as Tanakh. And then they claim that Jews are monotheistic also. Not quite. See, modern Jews have been deceived by Constantine. And so that's why the biblical Hebrew text made Elohim singular. And so it's a plural in the singular. Sound familiar? You know, like Christianity? Exactly. And so modern Jews are not monotheistic if Elohim is going to be singular. But they don't call it Trinity. They just call it plural magistry. God. Just go back to the origins. Paleo-Hebrew, which is Egyptian. The origins of the Jews in Judah are Egyptian, with Emmanuel, the sun god at noonday of the ancient Egyptians, with King Pharaoh David Moses the Third, who during Armageddon 1, this is all literal history, came to the valley of Armageddon to push back the Hittites who had encroached on the land. In the midst of the war, David Moses III, put his foot on the mount, and thus the valley parting the mountain. Yeah, it's not what Christians say it is. He goes on vacation on the mountain of Salem. And so, yeah, the Jews wrote a story about a King David who had an episode with Bathsheba during a wartime. So, yeah, Christians, always good for a laugh. And so, had to correct somebody else's picture of the different religions and the building that they used to congregate in with the symbol of their religion. And yes, Christians don't acknowledge Mormons as Christian. What a shock. So I had to put it in. And Mormons are instantly offended with this. And when they see it recommended to them by YouTube, that they, one, will ignore it, hope it goes away. Scrolling down, oops, you pressed too hard on the scroll, now you clicked on my video. Crap. Well, since you're here, you might as well put a thumbs down. Mormons will be offended. You shouldn't be. It's your symbol. Do you understand what a keystone is? Every first lesson of the Book of Mormon year, we get taught the symbolic meaning of keystones. And yet, are you seriously going to deny it? Are you seriously going to tell me I'm a liar? I was married in that temple. Room number 13. I had my wedding photos taken at the traditional doors, just like everyone else who got married in that temple. The photographers, both of them, took pictures of the full door. I never knew. I was in Southern California, went to Rick's to get away from my parents, passed up on Leanne and settled for Stephanie, who took me to Canada. So I never knew. We didn't have the internet. We didn't have pictures. This is not an AI photo. This is not upside down. This is the Keystone. And they now have Temple Square back up, ready to go again. The wall most likely still is in place. Since Hinckley put it up to hide it from the world. Because Christians know about it. They took photos. And they pass them around. They pass them around to their congregations. This is the symbol of Lucifer. This is Mormons. They know. Why are Mormons in denial? Why are the church leaders covering it up and hiding it? The church has a symbol of the temple video. They won't talk about it. They skip it. They don't want anybody to know. They don't want to explain it. They're covering it up and hiding it. Which is the doctrine of Lucifer. Which is the doctrine taught to us in the temple. Just like Islamic women going to the church distribution center to work. They have to have a temple recommend to work there, which means they lied to the church. That means they got baptized into the church, claiming that their outfit is cultural. They are sleeper cells in Mormonism. I'm very curious to know how they get married. Because they have to wear the hijab. As a religion, they are required to wear it. Otherwise, the holy day that they skipped work for, claiming it was cultural, it's a cultural holiday. Had the stoning part of the ceremony. Oh my God. That's what they do to women who don't wear the hijab. They stone them. And so I'm looking at the women. There's a mother and her daughter. And the mother doesn't like her daughter, I guess, because she purposely sat on the end to not allow her daughter to sit next to her. And so as more people were getting on the bus, you know, the daughter is sitting as close to mommy as possible. And mother is just does not like her daughter. It's sad. That's because I guess she's not married off yet. She's too old. Probably 18. It's so sad. Beautiful young woman, and she is in a religion that is sexually abusing her. And she is desperate for her mother's love, as it was obvious. and still her mother kept her distant from her. And so, yeah, she has no clue, I guess. But, yeah, there's been another one last year that I saw. A young girl who would not wear the hijab once she got on the bus and we rounded the corner. And then when she came home, when I was coming home, yeah, the hijab would come on right as we were turning the corner to come home. What also was scary about her is that she would play on her cell phone, which is a very nice, expensive cell phone. They treat refugees very well here by the church, as long as they join the church. She was playing first-person shooter games as she was shooting American soldiers in whatever game it was. That was weird and scary. Dear God. Learning how to shoot American soldiers. You need to be told the truth. You need to find out the truth. And if your religion doesn't want you to know the truth, then your religion is a danger to you and your life and to others. And this is the moral of the story, is that the majority of religions don't know their origins, have been deceived like the Jews, or are being covered up like the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, Christianity, and Islam. The symbol of sexual abuse is the clothing for Islam and for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Where Christians only get offended if you're not covered up and hidden. They just call it porn. They don't call it of the devil, per se. Alrighty. So yeah, how many people are gonna hate this video? Let me count the views. 1. 1. Oh, is it like Trinity?